Additional Customs and Border Protection agents are set to deploy to Minneapolis. That is according to two federal law enforcement sources. An ICE agent there shot and killed Renee Good just last week. Let's get to CNN's Whitney Wild for the very latest on all this. In this additional deployment, Whitney, what are you learning?
FearlessDisease fam, today we expose the truth they hate to hear. Like right now, if you are ready. As you see, DHS announced a surge of 1,000 additional agents to Minneapolis, boosting ICE and border enforcement ongoing shooting investigation. Rest in peace to Miss Good. I know she did some awful things, and we may not agree with the things she did, but unfortunately she has lost her life. So now tensions are really growing in the Minneapolis area. I knew this was going to happen. It's not the temperature is going to continue to keep on going up and up and up just for a little bit longer. I knew it. Things are not going to subside now, but we got to look at the big picture. Trump deranged syndrome is very real, and I don't understand why the medical association hasn't really picked up on this because people are just getting mad and mad, not just because of just ICE and people are getting deported, because of course the Democrats have done that in the past. It's just that Trump is doing this, and now the attention has gone up to a point where a young lady has lost her life. Maybe that wouldn't have happened. Maybe she wouldn't have been in that vicinity if she wasn't diagnosed with Trump deranged syndrome. Rest in peace to her. I know, rest in peace. But things happen like this when tensions keep on growing and keep on growing. So let's see what this young lady has to say about this new source where they're saying 1,000, not 500, but 1,000 of them agents coming in over Minneapolis.
This is a massive increase, John, because this was already the largest immigration action to date, with 2,000 agents spread throughout the Twin Cities. Now we know that it's going to be a 50% increase, 3,000 agents spread throughout that area. This is according to two sources. According to CNN's Priscilla Alvarez, Customs and Border Protection Commander Gregory Bovino had already been on the ground. He is going to be part of this operation. He is a well-known figure. He led operations in Chicago, New Orleans, and Charlotte. One of the sources telling Priscilla that he is going to be conducting targeted operations, which include door knocks. And in those situations, the documents that are provided to those targets will include administrative warrants, which are signed by an immigration officer but do not carry the same legal weight as a judicial warrant, or they will be copies of final orders of removal. John, as you mentioned, this all comes on the heels of an ICE officer shooting and killing Nicole Good. Leaders in Minneapolis and leaders at the White House have two completely different ideas about what happened. The White House continuing to defend that officer, saying that he feared for his life, that she attempted or did run him over, saying that this was an act of domestic terrorism. Kristi Noem doubled down on those comments.
And it's true. He was in fear of his life. I'm sure anybody would be in fear of his life. A car is coming towards him. Lady's driving a car. She was told multiple times to go ahead and get out of the vehicle or get out to stop the car. She chose not to stop the car. She wanted to reverse, go forward, do whatever she wanted to do. So she decided to put her car in gear while the officer was in front and another one was on the side to be able to keep on going forward because she wants to do what she wants to do. Unfortunately, like I said, she lost her life. But I think the cop was well in his range to be able to defend himself when a motor vehicle was threatening his life. Sorry. I'm sure they wouldn't have said nothing. Of course, he'd have lost his life if she would have ran over him. And they had to send, of course, a flag to her parents. To his family. Do you think they've been outraged for that? Most likely, no. It's sad that the people are standing up for wrongdoing when the person was wrong and was diagnosed with Trump deranged syndrome. Y'all know what I mean. Trump deranged syndrome.
Interview with Jake Tapper on Sunday. Minneapolis leaders say that could not be further from the truth. She posed no risk to that officer, that this was a completely unjustified shooting, and they are calling for more local involvement in a federal investigation, which at this point is being led exclusively by the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minneapolis.
Well, it has no difference. So what? We put FBI on it. You think the FBI can't do as good of a job as the local? It's not going to make a difference. You think that in their minds, they think okay, we're going to do local, do this. You think that they're going to come back and say, oh, yeah, he was wrong? No, they're going to come with the same judgment. It's obvious. Y'all got to stop acting stupid all the time.
New over the weekend, John, Democratic lawmakers attempted to enter an ICE facility. They were inside briefly before being escorted out on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm glad. Get out. You don't work there. Stop showing up at places that you're not supposed to be. People are stupid.
Last
man.
week,
Stupid
DHS
as
Secretary
people.
Kristi Noem had
Go
changed
home.
the policy about allowing unannounced visits by lawmakers,
Go home.
at saying that that they need at least a week's
Bye-bye.
notice. And John, the
Bye-bye.
reason for that,
Go
she
home.
said, was that it's too difficult to move around the staffing that is required for an unannounced visit. Basically saying when you have these lawmakers who just show up, that means that they have to take agents off of other important tasks and instead escort them inside these buildings.
Yeah,
So now
we ain't got
saying
time
no
for that.
more unannounced visits. Instead, they want at least a week's notice, John.
Yeah,
All
let us
right,
know.
so just some of the new developments there. Whitney, we know you're keeping your eye on it. Thank you very, very much. Kate?
Let's talk about
thanks
these
for your
developments
nonsense.
with someone who
Go.
knows everything about them. Joining us right now is the former acting director of ICE, John Sandberg. It's great to see you again, John. So
Great to see
first
you, man.
on the hundreds of more
Former.
officers that are now being sent in to
He's former, so obviously he wasn't good at his job, so they probably fired him because he didn't know what he was doing. So now he's switched over to the CNN side, or he probably was with the Democratic side, and we see that he just wasn't fit for the job. Now he's probably going to badmouth this awesome administration like a little punk. I know he will.
Minnesota to back up ICE agents while they continue operations. What do you
Go ahead,
think
cry some
that
more, buddy.
will do to the situation?
Okay, I think it has a real risk of inflaming the situation. We really need to de-escalate things in Minneapolis right now. The state and locals have indicated they do not want this extensive presence, right, of immigration enforcement agents in the city.
Nobody cares. You keep saying if the president wants to do something, he can. Why don't people understand that? We don't care if kids keep on crying because they wanted to drink chocolate milk and eat candy all day. They say, we don't want it. We don't want to. We want to. We want to. We just want to do that. And the dad says, I'm not going to let you do that. Nobody cares what the kids got to say. Minnesota and the local people around there, the kids. The president said he's going to do this. He's going to do this. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. So shut up.
This doesn't mean, so I think what I'd like to see is we reduce the visibility of the deployment here. This doesn't mean we have to say we're abandoning immigration enforcement. I think some people have tried to characterize it as either you have these mass deployments where you have no immigration enforcement at all. We know that's not true. ICE has arrested millions of people since its inception without these images that we're seeing now. But by doubling down and redeploying, we're sending the opposite message that we do not care what the state and locals think.
We don't care.
It's going to trigger more, and it's also just going to inflame the passions of these protesters. And Kate, very quickly,
Tell them to go
what also
home.
concerns me is where we're getting these agents from. These are Border Patrol agents, primarily. That they're just not trained or experienced in doing operations in these urban environments. They're trained for the border itself. So
no, they trained. They trained to go. As you see, you try to hit them with a car, somebody got to go.
the nature and the experience level of these officers themselves, that concerns me as well.
It's
Well,
really
cares what
an
concerns
interesting,
you. You don't-
important
you're not in a
point.
position
What do you
no
think
more.
of the change in policy John was just talking about with Whitney Wild that the Homeland Security Secretary just put in place? No more unannounced visits. They cannot accommodate unannounced visits by lawmakers to ICE facilities. They now need a week's notice, saying that they just can't
7
accommodate
days.
it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
You know, Kate, listen, it's disruptive when a member of Congress drops in on a facility. I appreciate and understand that. But I think what this goes back to a larger point, which is the administration, especially at DHS and within ICE, has really eliminated a lot of that accountability and oversight of the agency. They've diminished the funding of the, and basically effectively neutralized the internal detention ombudsman at ICE. They've eliminated or completely, cut back on the Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Office. And there's obviously been across the federal government restrictions on inspectors generals. When you're at an agency like this, all of those means of oversight really do help ensure that you're trying to do, try to do things the right way. And so while unannounced congressional visits, and that is something that Congress themselves put into appropriations bills demanding that right, while they are frustrating, while they can be inconvenient, the point is that they are unannounced, that congressmen can drop in at any time and see exactly what is going on inside a detention facility and make determinations about whether or not, ICE is doing its absolute best to provide for the care and custody of the detainees. So I appreciate
I'm tired of hearing him, man. He knows he knows the laws, but he's so soft right now because he's under that Trump deranged syndrome that he wants to be able to cry about the laws and the restrictions and the guidelines when it comes to seeing his facilities. He knows that they need time to be able to put in an order, at least a week notice. It probably was the same thing when he was in office, when he was probably with the Democrats, when he was the head of ICE. He knows this, but he just wants to cry on camera because he has to be under this because he's over there with the women. He's on the Democrat side. He's probably got a little testosterone drawn back out of him, so now he's acting a little feminine. That's usually what happens. He knows the deal. You need time. We need to be able to see at least a week in advance to see if you'll be able to come into the office. We already know that it's probably going to be there forever. So the crime by nothing's going to happen. Tensions are going to keep on growing because they keep on egging on the civilians to think that this is a wrong thing by the president by getting ICE involved and getting these illegals out of the country. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Past administrations have been doing this for decades in different terms. There's no difference than what they do, and now there's no difference now. It's just that Trump is in office and everybody wants to start a hoopla over him doing his civil duty and making sure we're safe as American citizens. I don't have time for that. Smash that like, tap the next video here on the screen, subscribe, and hit the bell. The Cash App FearlessDisease is always in the description if you're rocking with the movement. We'll see you on the next one. Stay rich and stay fearless.